Chapter 1. The Spark. Adam ran a hand through his perpetually messy blonde waves, the gesture more habit than concern for his appearance. At 30, he possessed a masculine build, tall at 6'2", with a pair of blue eyes that often seemed to hold more dreams than practical plans. He was a photographer, a good one, with a keen eye for the quiet beauty in the mundane, but his studio apartment in the city's arts district felt less like a launchpad and more like a comfortable cage. Today, the familiar scent of chemicals and stale coffee clung to the air, mirroring the creative stagnation that had settled over him like dust motes in the afternoon light. He stared at the blank wall where his latest project should have been. A commission for a local gallery had fallen through, leaving him with an unwelcome expanse of empty canvas in his mind. The rejection wasn't crushing, not anymore. It was just another chip in the fragile glass of his ambition. He needed inspiration, a jolt, something to shake him out of this comfortable inertia. Later that evening, seeking refuge from his own thoughts, Adam found himself drifting through a new gallery opening a few blocks away. The air hummed with hushed conversations and the clinking of glasses. He moved from piece to piece, appreciating the art but feeling strangely disconnected. Then he saw him. Across the room, near a strikingly vibrant abstract, stood a man who seemed to command the space with an effortless charm. Max Adam knew him vaguely from the local art scene. A patron, a collector, a man known for his discerning taste and quiet influence. Max was also tall, around Adam's height, with dark blonde hair, short and wavy like Adam's own, but threaded with distinguished streaks of gray that softened his temples and wove through the neatly trimmed facial hair framing his jaw. His green eyes, even from a distance, held a warm, intelligent glint as he listened to someone speaking, a faint, almost imperceptible smile playing on his lips. He was 45, Adam vaguely recalled, but carried himself with an ageless confidence that drew Adam's gaze. Adam found himself subtly gravitating closer, ostensibly to view the abstract, but really just to be within Max's orbit. Max's laugh, a low, pleasant rumble, reached him, and Adam felt an unexpected warmth bloom in his chest. As the conversation Max was in wound down, their eyes met across the small distance. Max's smile widened, a genuine, easy expression that reached his eyes. "Enjoying the show?" he asked, his voice smooth and inviting. "Trying to," Adam admitted, a rare blush creeping up his neck. "Some interesting pieces. That one." He gestured vaguely at the abstract. "It's got a certain lift to it." Max's green eyes twinkled, a spark of shared understanding. "Indeed," he murmured, his gaze holding Adam's for a beat longer than strictly necessary. "It certainly does." The air between them seemed to hum, charged with an unspoken recognition. It was a fleeting moment, a simple exchange, but as Max turned his attention to another arriving guest, Adam felt an unfamiliar lightness in his own step. He hadn't found his artistic jolt, not yet, but something in Max's steady presence, his charming gaze, had already provided a quiet, sensual hum of possibility, a subtle hint of the lift he desperately needed. The stale coffee smell of his apartment was suddenly a distant memory. Chapter 2. A Quiet Unfolding. The unexpected lightness Adam felt after meeting Max lingered, a subtle hum beneath the usual city drone. He found himself thinking about Max's green eyes, the easy charm of his smile, and the way his voice had resonated, even in that brief exchange. It was a new kind of curiosity, one that nudged him out of his creative slump, if only for a moment. A few days later, a text message popped up on his phone, a simple, elegant invitation. "Enjoyed our brief chat at the gallery. Coffee sometime. Max." Adam's fingers hovered over the screen, a smile touching his lips. He typed a quick, affirmative reply. Their first coffee meeting stretched into an hour, then 2. They met at a quiet cafe with worn leather chairs and the scent of roasted beans. Max, true to form, was an attentive listener, his gaze steady and warm as Adam spoke about his photography, his aspirations, and even, cautiously, his recent frustrations. Max didn't offer platitudes or unsolicited advice. Instead, he shared anecdotes from his own life, a career that had clearly seen its share of triumphs and setbacks, travels to far-flung places, and a quiet passion for collecting art that went beyond mere acquisition. He spoke with a seasoned wisdom that wasn't heavy but inviting, like a comfortable armchair. Adam found himself opening up in ways he hadn't with others. There was a profound sense of being truly seen, not just as a struggling artist, but as Adam, a man with dreams and vulnerabilities. He noticed the small things: the way Max held his mug, long fingers wrapped around the ceramic, the subtle scent of sandalwood and something distinctly masculine that clung to him, the way Max's eyes crinkled at the corners when he genuinely laughed. Their meetings became a quiet ritual. Coffee turned into lunch, then casual walks through hidden city parks where autumn leaves crunched underfoot. Max would point out architectural details Adam had overlooked, or share a story about a particular tree. Adam, in turn, found himself instinctively reaching for his camera, seeing the world through a slightly brighter, more hopeful lens. He'd show Max his latest shots, and Max would offer insightful comments that felt less like critique and more like a gentle nudge towards a new perspective. One afternoon, they were sitting on a park bench, the late afternoon sun casting long shadows. Adam was recounting a particularly frustrating interaction with a client. As he spoke, his hand gestured animatedly, and Max, without thinking, reached out and gently rested his hand on Adam's forearm. It was a fleeting touch, a gesture of comfort and understanding, but it sent a surprising jolt through Adam. Max's skin was warm, firm, and the touch lingered, a subtle pressure that spoke volumes. Adam looked down at their joined hands, then up at Max. Max's green eyes met his, a soft, knowing expression in their depths. There was no awkwardness, only a comfortable silence that stretched between them, filled with an unspoken current. The sensuality wasn't overt. It was in these quiet moments, these shared spaces where their energies intertwined. It was in the way Max's presence felt like a warm, steady anchor, subtly grounding Adam. It was in the comfortable silences that held more meaning than words, and the way Max's eyes seemed to absorb every detail of Adam, seeing the potential beneath the surface. Adam felt a quiet blossoming within him, a gentle unfolding of something new and deeply appealing. He was beginning to understand that Max wasn't just interesting. He was becoming essential. Chapter 3. The First Embrace. The quiet unfolding of Adam and Max's connection continued, a gentle rhythm of shared conversations and comfortable silences. Adam found himself looking forward to Max's texts, the simple invitations that felt like a lifeline in the often turbulent waters of his creative life. He was starting to feel a familiar hum of inspiration return, a faint echo of the lift he'd felt upon their first meeting. But life, as it often does, had a way of testing nascent hope. A week after their park bench encounter, Adam received news that hit harder than previous rejections. A major photography competition, one he'd poured months of his soul into, had passed him over entirely. Not even an honorable mention. The setback felt disproportionately heavy, not just for the lost opportunity, but for the stark reminder of his persistent struggle to break through. He retreated into his studio, the familiar scent of chemicals now feeling suffocating, the city drone outside a dull ache. He stared at his phone, the contact from Max glowing on the screen. His thumb hovered over the call button, then hesitated. Max was so composed, so successful. Would he understand this kind of raw, artistic disappointment? Yet, the memory of Max's warm hand on his forearm, the knowing look in his green eyes, pushed him forward. He needed that anchor. "Rough day," Adam texted, the words feeling inadequate. Max's reply was almost immediate. "I'm sorry to hear that. Want to talk about it? My place, if you like. I've got good whiskey or better tea, whichever you prefer." Adam chose the tea, and the comfort of Max's spacious, art-filled apartment. It was a haven of warm wood, soft lighting, and an eclectic collection of art that spoke of a life well lived. Max didn't press him for details, simply listened as Adam, hunched over a steaming mug, articulated his frustration, the feeling of being perpetually on the cusp but never quite there. Max listened patiently, his gaze unwavering. When Adam finally ran out of words, Max leaned forward, his voice low and steady. "Adam," he began, "rejection isn't a judgment on your talent. It's a redirection. Sometimes, the path you think you're meant for isn't the one that will truly allow you to soar." He paused, his green eyes holding Adam's. "I've seen your work. You have a unique vision. Don't let a single setback dim that light." His words weren't empty platitudes. They were infused with a genuine understanding that resonated deep within Adam. Max's belief in him was palpable, a quiet force that began to mend the frayed edges of Adam's confidence. Adam felt a wave of gratitude, profound and overwhelming, wash over him. He looked at Max, truly looked at him. The gentle lines around his eyes, the subtle silver in his beard, the unwavering warmth in his gaze. In that moment, the emotional intimacy between them deepened, becoming almost tangible. Adam instinctively reached out, his hand finding Max's, his fingers intertwining. Max's grip was firm, reassuring. Then, slowly, almost imperceptibly, Max leaned closer. Adam felt the warmth radiating from him, the subtle scent of sandalwood and something uniquely Max. His heart thrummed a new rhythm, a mixture of vulnerability and yearning. Max's green eyes searched his, a silent question, a gentle invitation. Adam didn't need words. He leaned in, closing the small distance between them. Their lips met. It wasn't a sudden, explosive kiss, but a slow, tender exploration. Max's lips were soft, yielding, and the soft brush of his facial hair against Adam's skin sent a shiver of pure sensation through him. It was a kiss of comfort, of understanding, of a quiet, burgeoning desire. Max's hand moved from Adam's, rising to cup his jaw, his thumb gently caressing Adam's cheekbone. Adam responded, his hand finding the back of Max's neck, his fingers tangling in the soft, slightly longer hair there. The kiss deepened, a silent promise exchanged between them. It was the first physical manifestation of the profound emotional connection that had been quietly building, a sensual confirmation that Max was indeed the anchor Adam had been searching for, the steady. Chapter 4. Building the Foundation. The kiss had been a silent declaration, a gentle opening of a door Adam hadn't even realized he was waiting for. After that evening, the tentative dance of their friendship shifted into the more deliberate, exhilarating steps of a burgeoning relationship. Max's invitations became less about coffee and more about shared experiences. Art exhibitions, quiet dinners at hidden gems, long drives out of the city to watch the sunset over rolling hills. Adam found himself falling into a rhythm with Max that felt both new and profoundly right. Max was a world of quiet revelations. Adam learned about his discerning taste in obscure jazz, his meticulous collection of first-edition novels, and the subtle humor that often underscored his thoughtful observations. Max's life, established and rich, was a fascinating contrast to Adam's still-forming one, yet there was no sense of imbalance. Instead, Max seemed to genuinely delight in Adam's youthful energy, his unbridled enthusiasm for new discoveries, and the way Adam's artistic I could find beauty in the most unexpected places. "You see things, Adam," Max had said one afternoon, watching Adam frame a shot of sunlight filtering through a fire escape. "Things most people walk right past. It's a gift." His words were like a warm current, bolstering Adam's confidence. Adam, in turn, found himself increasingly drawn to Max's calm strength. Max wasn't just a charming companion. He was becoming a quiet inspiration. He saw the way Max navigated challenges with a steady hand, how he approached life with a thoughtful, unhurried grace. It was a different kind of strength than Adam possessed, one that felt like a solid foundation beneath his own more volatile artistic spirit. Their physical intimacy deepened with the same gentle, natural progression. Holding hands became second nature, fingers intertwining as they walked, a silent, comforting connection. An arm around Adam's waist as they stood side by side, looking at a painting, felt like a quiet claim, a tender embrace that spoke volumes. The sensuality was less about grand gestures and more about the deepening comfort and unspoken understanding that settled between their bodies. One crisp morning, Adam woke in Max's bed, the early light filtering through the blinds. He was nestled against Max's back, the scent of Max's skin, a clean, warm scent, subtly masculine, filling his senses. He shifted, pressing closer, and Max stirred, a soft groan escaping his lips before he turned, his arm instinctively drawing Adam in. Adam's face was buried in Max's neck, the soft stubble of his facial hair a gentle abrasion against his cheek. Max's hand came up to rest on Adam's hip, a warm, steady weight. "Morning," Max murmured, his voice thick with sleep, a soft kiss pressed to Adam's temple. "Morning," Adam whispered back, content to simply exist in that space, held securely in Max's embrace. There was a profound sense of belonging, a quiet intimacy that transcended words. The sensuality was in the shared warmth of their bodies, the easy rhythm of their breathing, the knowledge that they were exactly where they were meant to be. Max was becoming more than just a presence. He was becoming a part of Adam's very being, building a foundation of love and trust that promised to provide an even greater certain kind of lift. Chapter 5. The Challenge and the Steadfast Support. The foundation Max and Adam were building felt solid, a comforting counterpoint to the city's ceaseless churn. Adam's photography, once a source of quiet frustration, now hummed with renewed purpose. Max's belief in him was a constant, gentle current, lifting him, allowing him to experiment, to take risks he might have shied away from before. Their shared mornings, the easy intimacy of Max's touch, the scent of his skin lingering on Adam's, had become the bedrock of his days. Then came the email. Not a rejection this time, but an invitation. A prestigious gallery in New York, renowned for launching significant careers, had seen Adam's online portfolio and was interested in featuring his work in a curated group show. It was the kind of opportunity Adam had dreamed of, the kind that could truly provide the lift he craved. But as he read the details, the tight deadline, the expectation of new groundbreaking pieces, the sheer scale of the exposure, a cold knot of anxiety tightened in his stomach. He felt the familiar tendrils of self-doubt begin to creep in, whispering doubts about his talent, his ability to deliver under such pressure. He was good, yes, but New York good. The thought felt overwhelming, a mountain too steep to climb. He paced his studio, the excitement battling with a paralyzing fear of failure. That evening, over a dinner Max had prepared, Adam finally articulated his turmoil. He laid out the opportunity, then the crushing weight of his apprehension. "What if I can't do it, Max?" he confessed, his voice barely a whisper. "What if I choke? This is huge, and I don't know if I'm ready." Max listened, his green eyes steady, never leaving Adam's face. He didn't interrupt, didn't offer immediate solutions. When Adam finished, Max reached across the table, taking Adam's hand in his. His grip was firm, warm, a tangible anchor. "Adam," Max began, his voice calm and resonant, "this isn't if you can do it. This is how you will do it. They wouldn't have invited you if they didn't see your talent. And I see it every single day." He squeezed Adam's hand. "You're not going to choke. You're going to rise. And I'll be here every step of the way." Max didn't try to diminish Adam's fear, but he reframed it, turning the overwhelming challenge into a series of manageable steps. He offered practical suggestions, a revised schedule, a quiet space in his own home if Adam needed to escape the studio, a promise to be a sounding board, a critic, or just a silent presence, whatever Adam needed. Later that night, the anxiety still gnawing at Adam, he found himself restless in Max's bed. Max, sensing his unease, simply shifted, pulling Adam closer. Adam turned, burying his face in Max's chest, inhaling the comforting scent of him. Max's arms wrapped around him, strong and secure, holding him tightly. Adam felt the steady thrum of Max's heartbeat against his ear, a slow, comforting rhythm that began to quiet the frantic thumping of his own. Max's hand moved to Adam's hair, gently stroking his blonde waves, then tracing the line of his spine. There was no need for words, no expectation of anything but comfort. The sensuality in that moment was profound. The warmth of Max's body enveloping him, the subtle pressure of his embrace, the reassuring weight of his hand. It was the quiet strength of unwavering support, the absolute safety of being held by someone who believed in him unconditionally. In Max's arms, Adam felt the fear begin to recede, replaced by a nascent courage. He knew, with a certainty that settled deep in his bones, that with Max as his certain kind of lift, he wouldn't just stand, he would soar. Chapter 6. Soaring Higher. The weeks that followed were a blur of intense creative energy for Adam. Max's words, his steady presence, and the comforting weight of his arms during those anxious nights had indeed been the certain kind of lift Adam needed. He threw himself into his work, the fear of failure slowly transmuted into a fierce determination. Max was there, a quiet anchor in the periphery, offering coffee at odd hours, listening patiently to Adam's evolving ideas, and providing a grounded perspective whenever Adam felt himself spiraling. Adam experimented, pushed boundaries, and found new depths in his photographic vision. He captured the city's pulse with a raw honesty, infused with a newfound hope that Max had helped him discover. He worked tirelessly, fueled by a sense of purpose he hadn't felt in years. Finally, the day of the New York exhibition arrived. Adam, nervous but exhilarated, stood beside Max in the bustling gallery. Max's hand rested reassuringly on the small of Adam's back, a silent testament to their shared journey. As people began to gather around Adam's pieces, murmurs of appreciation turning into genuine praise, a wave of emotion washed over him. His work was being seen, truly seen, by the very world he had longed to enter. The reviews started coming in, glowing with critical acclaim. One prominent art critic called his collection a breathtaking exploration of urban solitude, infused with a rare luminous hope. Another highlighted his unflinching gaze and profound empathy. Adam's phone buzzed constantly with congratulations. He had done it. He had not just delivered. He had soared. That evening, back in Max's apartment, the city lights twinkling outside like a million tiny stars, the weight of the achievement settled over Adam. He felt an almost overwhelming sense of triumph, but also a deep, quiet gratitude. He turned to Max, who was watching him with a soft, proud smile, his green eyes alight. "I couldn't have done it without you," Adam said, his voice thick with emotion, reaching out to cup Max's face. His thumb brushed against the soft stubble of Max's beard, feeling the subtle warmth of his skin. You are, the wind beneath my wings." Max's smile softened further, and he leaned into Adam's touch. "You had the wings, Adam. I just helped you remember how to use them." The air between them was charged, not just with triumph, but with a profound, sensual connection that had been building for months. Adam pulled Max closer, their bodies meeting with a familiar ease, yet tonight, there was a new intensity. Max's arms wrapped around Adam's waist, pulling him flush against his body. Adam's hands found their way into Max's soft, gray-flecked hair, pulling him into a deep, unhurried kiss. It was a kiss of celebration, of release, of absolute devotion. Max's lips were firm, tasting of the wine they'd shared, and his tongue gently explored Adam's mouth, a silent conversation of desire and adoration. Adam responded with fervent passion, his body alive with the joy of his success and the overwhelming love he felt for the man who had made it possible. They moved together, shedding the day's clothes with eager hands, their movements a dance of intimate knowledge. Max's hands roamed over Adam's masculine build, tracing the lines of his back, his hips, his thighs, each touch a silent affirmation of his desire. Adam reveled in the feeling of Max's body against his, the contrast of Max's mature strength with his own youthful vigor. Every touch, every kiss, every whispered breath was an echo of their journey, a testament to the powerful, beautiful way they had lifted each other. In Max's arms, Adam found not just pleasure, but a profound sense of belonging, a sensual culmination of the certain kind of lift that had transformed his life. Chapter 7. Deeper Roots. The triumph of the New York exhibition settled into a new, comfortable rhythm for Adam. The initial rush of adrenaline gave way to a profound sense of validation, and with it, a quiet confidence that had been missing. He was no longer just a photographer with potential. He was an artist with a recognized voice. And at the heart of this newfound stability was Max. Their relationship, once a delicate dance of discovery, now felt like a deeply rooted tree, its branches reaching confidently towards the sky. The conversation about moving in together had been surprisingly easy, a natural progression rather than a momentous decision. Adam's studio apartment, once his solitary sanctuary, now felt too small, too separate. Within weeks, his sparse belongings, along with his camera equipment, found a new home in Max's spacious, art-filled apartment. The transition was seamless, a testament to how perfectly their lives seemed to intertwine. Max, ever thoughtful, had cleared out a large sunlit room for Adam's new studio space, a silent gesture that spoke volumes of his support. Living together brought a new layer of intimacy, a sensual tapestry woven from the mundane and the extraordinary. Mornings began with the shared ritual of coffee, Max's hand often resting on Adam's thigh as they read the news, the warmth of his touch a silent anchor. The scent of Max's aftershave became as familiar and comforting as the scent of his own skin. Evenings were filled with the quiet hum of domesticity. Cooking together, their bodies brushing as they navigated the kitchen, the easy laughter that erupted over a burnt dish or a perfectly seasoned one. Adam loved watching Max move through his home, the casual grace of his tall frame, the way his gray-flecked hair caught the light. They continued to learn from each other. Max, through Adam's fresh, artistic perspective, rediscovered the vibrancy of the city he'd lived in for decades. Adam, in turn, found a profound sense of calm and wisdom in Max's presence. Max's patience was a balm, his steady guidance a quiet strength. Adam, who had once felt a restless need to be constantly doing, now found profound contentment in simply being with Max. The sensuality of their everyday life was subtle, pervasive. It was in Max's hand finding Adam's under the table at dinner, a silent squeeze of affection. It was in the way Max would sometimes just watch Adam, a soft, loving smile on his lips, making Adam feel utterly cherished. It was in the shared warmth of the sofa during a quiet evening, Adam's head resting on Max's shoulder, the familiar scent of him a comfort. Their intimate moments in the bedroom were now imbued with a deeper trust, a more profound understanding of each other's bodies and desires. There was a relaxed familiarity, a comfortable exploration that spoke of a love settled and secure. Adam found himself thriving, his photography reaching new heights, driven by an inner peace he hadn't known was possible. He was no longer just flying, he was soaring with purpose, his wings strong and steady, knowing that beneath them always was Max, providing that certain kind of lift that made everything possible. Chapter 8. A glimpse of the past, a promise for the future. Life in Max's apartment, now their apartment, settled into a comfortable rhythm that felt both effortless and deeply fulfilling. Adam's photography flourished, his work imbued with a new depth and confidence that resonated with critics and collectors alike. He was soaring, truly, and every success felt like a shared victory, a testament to the certain kind of lift Max provided. Yet, amidst this harmony, Adam began to notice subtle shifts in Max, moments of quiet introspection that hinted at a world beyond their present joy. Max, usually so composed, occasionally seemed distant, his green eyes clouding over for a fleeting moment before his customary charm returned. Adam, now attuned to Max's every nuance, sensed a vulnerability he hadn't seen before, a quiet undercurrent beneath Max's usual strength. One rainy Saturday, curled on the sofa with a book, Max sighed, a sound that was less contentment and more a release of something held in. Adam, instinctively, set his own book aside and turned to him. "Everything all right?" he asked softly, his hand resting gently on Max's arm. Max hesitated, then looked at Adam, a rare, unguarded expression on his face. "Just thinking about the past," he admitted, his voice a little softer than usual. He began to speak of a dream he'd once harbored, a passion for architecture that he'd set aside years ago due to a series of professional setbacks and personal responsibilities. He spoke of a quiet regret, a sense of an unfulfilled potential that had always remained, a shadow he thought he'd long since made peace with. He hadn't realized until now how much Adam's own journey had stirred those old longings. Adam listened, his heart aching for the younger Max who had faced those disappointments alone. Max had always been his anchor, his unwavering support, and now, Adam realized, it was his turn to be the wind. He didn't offer facile solutions or try to dismiss Max's feelings. Instead, he simply held Max's gaze, his blue eyes filled with understanding and boundless affection. "Max," Adam said, his voice firm but gentle, "you never stopped being an architect. You built this home, you curate beauty, you've built a life that's a masterpiece. And you built me up piece by piece." He reached out, his fingers tracing the soft lines of Max's facial hair, then cupping his jaw. "It's never too late, you know, to revisit those dreams, to build something new just for you." Max's eyes, usually so strong, seemed to soften, a glimmer of something akin to tears. He leaned into Adam's touch, a silent acknowledgement of the comfort and profound understanding Adam was offering. In that moment, the dynamic subtly shifted. Adam, once the one who needed lifting, was now providing the steady, unwavering support Max had always given him. Later that night, their lovemaking was imbued with a new depth, a tender reassurance that transcended passion. Max lay on his back, Adam nestled against him, his head on Max's chest, listening to the steady beat of his heart. Adam's hand moved over Max's body, a slow, comforting exploration, his touch gentle, reassuring. He kissed Max's shoulder, his neck, the subtle gray in his hair, each kiss a silent promise. Max turned, pulling Adam closer, his arms wrapping around him in a tight, protective embrace. "Thank you," he whispered into Adam's hair, his voice rough with emotion. "For seeing me. For that." The sensuality was in the profound comfort, the shared vulnerability, the absolute certainty that they were each other's safe harbor. It was Adam's strong, young body providing solace to Max's seasoned one, a testament to their reciprocal love. Max had been the constant wind beneath Adam's wings, and now Adam was proving he could be the gentle current that lifted Max, promising a future where they would always provide that certain kind of lift for each other. Chapter 9. The Symphony of Their Lives. The revelation of Max's past architectural dreams, and Adam's tender response, had woven a new, even stronger thread into the fabric of their relationship. It was a testament to the depth of their connection, a quiet understanding that their certain kind of lift was not a one-way street, but a reciprocal flow of support and love. Max, inspired by Adam's unwavering belief, began to sketch again, tentative at first, then with a renewed passion that brought a vibrant energy to his days. Life in their apartment settled into a beautiful symphony. Adam's photography continued to ascend, his work now infused with an even richer emotional resonance, a direct reflection of the profound happiness he found with Max. He captured light and shadow with an artistry that spoke of inner peace, his blue eyes now holding not just dreams, but the quiet satisfaction of dreams realized. Max, meanwhile, found joy in the rediscovery of his own creative spirit. His architectural sketches filling notebooks, a quiet ambition rekindled. They navigated the smaller challenges of daily life with an easy grace. A forgotten anniversary was met with laughter and an impromptu, passionate dinner. A minor disagreement over a shared project was resolved with calm discussion and a deeper understanding of each other's perspectives. Their unity was palpable, a quiet strength that emanated from their shared space. The sensuality of their lives became a rich, intricate tapestry. It was in the playful nudges Max gave Adam in the kitchen, the warmth of his hand lingering on Adam's lower back as they reached for the same spice. It was in the way Adam would instinctively lean into Max's embrace on the sofa, burying his face in the comforting scent of Max's neck, feeling utterly safe and cherished. Their intimate moments in the bedroom were a fluid dance of familiar bodies and deepening desires. There was a relaxed confidence in their movements, a knowing touch that spoke of months, now years, of shared pleasure and profound connection. Adam loved the feel of Max's seasoned hands on his skin, the gentle abrasion of Max's facial hair against his cheek during a lingering kiss, the way Max's green eyes would soften with adoration as they lay intertwined after lovemaking. They began to talk about the future with a tangible excitement. A trip to Italy to explore ancient architecture and capture new photographic landscapes. The idea of a small shared studio space where Max could bring his designs to life and Adam could print his large-scale works. These were not just plans. They were shared dreams, built on the solid foundation of their love. One evening, as Adam worked on a new series of portraits in his studio, Max came in, a freshly brewed cup of tea in hand. He watched Adam for a moment, then came to stand behind him, wrapping his arms around Adam's waist, resting his chin on Adam's shoulder. Adam leaned back into the embrace, feeling Max's steady heartbeat against his back. "You're truly flying, Adam," Max murmured, his voice a low rumble. Adam smiled, reaching back to intertwine his fingers with Max's. "Only because I have the best wind beneath my wings," he whispered, his voice filled with an undeniable truth. Their love was a living, breathing entity, a constant source of inspiration and strength, a beautiful symphony of two souls providing a certain kind of lift for each other forever. Chapter 10. The Wings Forever. Years had passed since the New York exhibition, years that had deepened the lines of wisdom on Max's face and etched a confident maturity into Adam's. Their apartment, once Max's alone, was now undeniably theirs, filled with the rich scent of Max's architectural drawings and the subtle metallic tang of Adam's developing prints. The shared studio space they had once only dreamed of was now a vibrant reality, a testament to their intertwined passions and the enduring strength of their bond. Adam stood before his latest masterpiece, a large-scale photograph of Max, caught in a rare moment of quiet contemplation over his own architectural blueprints. The light in the image was soft, reverent, highlighting the silver in Max's hair and beard, the thoughtful curve of his lips, the depth in his green eyes. It was more than a portrait. It was a love letter, a visual declaration of the man who had been his anchor, his muse, his unwavering support. He had achieved more than he ever thought possible. His name now synonymous with innovative, soulful photography. And with every success, every accolade, his gratitude for Max grew. He often thought of the song, "Wind Beneath My Wings," and how perfectly it encapsulated their journey. Max hadn't just given him wings. He had taught him how to trust them, how to navigate the currents, how to truly fly. Later that evening, as the city lights blurred into a soft glow outside their window, Adam found Max on the balcony, a glass of wine in hand, gazing out at the skyline. Adam walked up behind him, wrapping his arms around Max's waist, resting his chin on Max's shoulder. Max leaned back into the embrace, a contented sigh escaping him. "Thinking about your new project?" Adam murmured, his lips brushing Max's ear, feeling the soft texture of his hair. Max chuckled, a low, warm sound. "Among other things. Mostly just thinking about us. How far we've come." He turned in Adam's arms, his green eyes, still as captivating as the day they met, meeting Adam's blue ones. Max's hand came up to cup Adam's cheek, his thumb gently stroking the skin. "You've soared, Adam. Truly. It's been incredible to watch." Adam leaned into the touch, his own hand finding Max's, intertwining their fingers. "And you, my love," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "You built the perfect launch pad. You were the one who saw the potential, even when I couldn't. You were the strength, the belief, the quiet force that made it all possible." He leaned in, pressing a soft, lingering kiss to Max's lips, tasting the wine, the familiar, intoxicating flavor of Max. Their kiss deepened, a slow, tender dance that spoke of years of shared history, of profound trust, and of an enduring sensual love. Max's arms tightened around Adam, pulling him flush against his body, their tall frames fitting together perfectly. Adam's hands found their way to the back of Max's neck, his fingers tangling in the soft, gray-flecked hair, pulling him closer still. They moved from the balcony to the quiet intimacy of their bedroom, their movements unhurried, each touch, each kiss, a reaffirmation of their bond. The sensuality was deep, familiar, born of an absolute comfort and a profound understanding of each other's bodies. Adam reveled in the feel of Max's strong, mature body against his own, the gentle abrasion of Max's facial hair against his skin, the way Max's green eyes would soften with adoration as they lay intertwined. As they lay together, bathed in the soft glow of the city lights, Adam pressed a final tender kiss to Max's shoulder. He buried his face in the crook of Max's neck, inhaling the comforting, masculine scent that was so uniquely Max. "Did you ever know that you're my hero?" Adam whispered, the words from the song echoing in his heart, not just a lyric, but a living truth. "Everything I would like to be. I can fly higher than an eagle. 'Cause you are the wind beneath my wings." Max held him tighter, a silent acknowledgement, a promise of forever. Their love was a living, breathing entity, a constant source of inspiration and strength, a beautiful symphony of two souls who had found their certain kind of lift in each other, and who would continue to soar, hand in hand, for all their days.